municipalities and cities, but each area within Uganda is supposed to be a planning area. And that cannot be done at only the ministry level, but the local governments have to be very active in seeing that realized. In the ministry, when we realized that there was a gap, because we have the law and we have some policies and regulations, but on identifying the gaps, we recommended that cabinet should allow us to create an enforcement unit, enforcement and compliance. Because we would do laws, we do regulations, we do guidelines like the ones we have on fuel stations, but you realize that still the local governments that are supposed to oversee the implementation are doing things to the contrary. Honorable colleagues and Right Honorable Speaker, for any activity to take place in any community, there are units or committees at the district which are supposed to see the implementation. And these units are replicated even up to the sub-county level. We have what we call a physical planning committee, which has a physical planner. The cow is supposed to be the chair. There is somebody who's responsible for building, then an engineer, then an environmental officer, and also a land officer. They are supposed to work together, sit in a committee, harmonize, and at the end of the day come out with a report that can guide on building or planning of a specific area. But when you go on ground, that's why you are raising complaints, that you realize that plans are there, technical officers are in offices, but still things are being done to the contrary. Right Honorable Speaker, there is a honorable member who talked about the urban areas being not planned well. The cities, that we have the cities, but you realize few cities have actually approved the plan. What I want to tell this House is that the plans that cities could be having, these plans expire. They make plans that can cover between 10 to 15 or 25 years, depending on how they sit to agree amongst a local government unit. So some of the plans could have been there, but because of the events, it has expired or it is about to expire. Now we are looking at making those plans realistic and also to cover a number of years for that particular area. Even some of the regions, Honorable was talking about Karamoja. Our technical teams went to Karamoja when they were doing an evaluation of the entire country, and they realized that Karamoja is one of the great areas that if planned properly and the plan being followed by the people who are supposed to implement that plan, it would be one of the best areas in Uganda. And we are not keeping quiet about it. We are looking at planning the entire Karamoja region because we know that it is an area that we can look up to as an area that was planned and the plans being followed. For Kampala, it is a little bit difficult because the disorganization has been on for some years. We cannot say that it is work that can be done in an overnight. What we are trying to do is damage control to see how can we stop further escalation of poor planning in Kampala. And Kampala metropolitan area, the minister and her executive, they are responsible for the planning. We only come in to guide on them. And because of that, in our National Fiscal Development Plan, what we decided to do was now to see that government focuses on the regional cities or secondary cities, because we believe that once the secondary cities get the services that are in Kampala, definitely decongestion will happen automatically because growth will be created in the regional cities that are set up, and we shall have balanced but also planned developments in the regional cities. So we are looking and we are going to put more emphasis on the regional cities because we are looking at it as a way of decongesting the Kampala metropolitan area, but also having an opportunity because for them they are new and you realize that they still have space that can be properly planned to guide the entire development in those
Conclude, Honorable
areas.
Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we just pledged that during the budgeting, we shall always prioritize. We did prioritization, and we engaged all the different stakeholders that are supposed to help us. We engaged the speaker, we engaged the deputy speaker, we engaged the parliamentary committees, but our requests were not prioritized because we realized that the funding was not enough for physical planning across the board, from the ministry up to the local governments. But we hope that in the course of discussing these matters, we are going to make a plan, which plan we are going to present to cabinet, and after cabinet, then we shall come over to this house and ensure that
Honorable, conclude.
And ensure that what we require as in implementing the physical development plans is given the priority which is required. I want to thank you once again for all the guidance and the information given to me. We have been taking notes, and we shall come back to the tourism areas are part of the National Physical Development Plan. Even the agricultural zoning are part of the National Physical Development Plan. Even the infrastructure development, we are supposed to work with the respective ministries to have their input on how we can make those areas specifically zoned to ensure that the services which is supposed to be done in that area is done according to the plan. And this is work in progress. I've told you that the plan was approved last November, and here we are trying to see the implementation strategy. How are we moving now forward, having gotten that first plan of the country? Thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Local Government, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Members, I'll zero on a few points since we are time barred. How far has the Ministry of Local Government gone into emphasizing the physical planning and abiding to the rules related to construction, protection of the nature, and all that? Right Honorable Speaker, planning starts at every level. So every local government is supposed to have a plan. And that is the reason when we had abolished the DDEG fund, District Development Equalization Grant, we argued our hearts here in Parliament, and you restored it. So they're getting it, and we guide them to begin by making plans. Number two, on illegal constructions, we zeroed on the most dangerous constructions, and those are the petrol stations. Members, you will agree that even in your constituencies, there are illegal construction of petrol stations, and the Ministry of Local Government came out with a circular stopping construction of petrol stations, and we referred the matter to the supervisory body, that is the Physical Planning Authority. So when you see any illegal petrol station, run to the Physical Planning Authority. Just a minute. We have done our work. Then thirdly, Right Honorable Speaker, thirdly, as Minister of Local Government, we have observed that we, including you, are the most destroyers of nature in our regions. I was driving via Mbarara and I saw how River Ruiz is.
Switch on, Honorable Minister, and conclude, please.
So we compel everyone to put in our hands, not to keep pointing fingers. When we do our oversight and we come along such a things, we should compel the district authority, the city authority, the municipality authority to exercise their powers and stop destruction. I want to give you wisdom. I want to give you some wisdom.
Procedure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Local Government has said that they issued a letter, a circular halting the construction of petrol stations. Mr. Speaker, I thought the minister would have said, the circular would be addressing the problem, because we need the petrol stations that well arranged, well designed, because we need them. So if you hold the petrol stations, where do you want them to be? And why don't you guide how to establish these petrol stations other than stopping them? Are you abolishing them? And don't we, Mr. Speaker, the procedure is, are we no longer in need of petrol stations, or we need petrol stations that are well designed, well planned?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it would have been more a point of clarification
Yes.
than a point of procedure. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
So, Honorable Minister, can you clarify
Thank
on
you,
that?
Right Honorable Speaker. Members, the circular is not a one-sentence circular. It's lengthy and explaining where you can consult so that the petrol station is put in a proper place. It was just halting as you consult. I would wish to.
Thank you, Honorable colleagues. This is done. We are closing it here because the minister is causing more trouble than helping me solve problems. No, but the time I've given you, you've gone into things which are so, you know.
Just a sentence. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg for this. Members, let's share this wisdom. I want to share with you how Fort Portal City has overcome some of these challenges. By creating innovations, we are recycling the rubbish and getting manure, and manure is giving us a lot of money. Secondly, we are recycling the plastics. In the interest of time, I beg to stop here.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
I promise, Right Honorable Speaker, may I request that I make a statement with some guidelines on how we can overcome some of these challenges.
No, the Committee for Physical Infrastructure should take up this matter seriously, especially as we are going into budgeting. It should be one of the assignments you look at, which will inform you. You don't need to bring here a report. You do a comprehensive engagement, and then it informs your decision for proposals during budgeting, especially when you're processing the BFP. Okay, thank you. Motion? The motion for?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, having listened to the minister's submission and recommendations of various members of Parliament on this particular matter, I would like to move that the House adopts those recommendations and any other suggestions that have been made with amendments. I beg to move.
Now, thank you. Now, I think we can, honorable colleagues, motions without notes are provided for under Rule 59. Okay. Specifically 1K, which gives the Speaker a prerogative, because we have all motions listed which can be moved without notice. But then under 1K, the Speaker has a prerogative of weighing and saying, I believe this one should come, even if it's not among the listed. But then under 59.2 is a very clear procedure. So I've helped you by bringing out the rule, because the procedure is, and the way it is stated is properly captured under 59.2. So I believe these are interesting recommendations. And since they've come from the minister, they should be very easy for her to implement. Okay? So I'll put the question on the motion so that we can just because I need it first, get it properly. Okay, we need to know to state it properly. If the member could get a copy of the statement, maybe it would help him so that it's well captured for the records.
Mr. Speaker, the minister was required to make a presentation, a statement on the extent to which local governments are complying with the Physical Planning Act. And having listened to the minister's submissions and recommendations herein by the members, I would like to move that the recommendations and report or statement of the minister,
The
including,
recommendations. Let's focus on the recommendation. Yes.
okay, Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I move that the recommendations of the minister and that of the members made in relation to the statement of the Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development on the implementation of the National Physical Planning Act 2010 as amended by local governments be adopted by this House with amendments. I beg to move.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Is the motion seconded? Yes. Seconded by Minister for Lands, Pastor Namuganza. Seconded by Minister for Local Government. Seconded by Minister for Defense. Seconded by Minister for Physical Infrastructure. Seconded by Vande Masiko, Honorable Masiko, UPDF, Honorable Mushemeza, Honorable Wanzara, Busia, Fadir, and many colleagues. Okay? So I now put a question that the recommendations be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Now, Honorable Minister, 3 months. We are giving you 3 months to bring an action taken report with regard to your recommendation. With regard to your recommendations, because I'm looking at, Honorable Minister, I'm looking at November, December, and January. That's a period where we are going to be having the BFP, which is coming in December, by end of December. So if we have the BFP and these are incorporated, most of them all captured or not even captured, but are listed as priorities, then it will make it very easy for the committee. But again, it is enough time for you also to consider them within your ministerial policy statement. Okay? But these are cross-cutting. So Minister of Local Government, the same. Moreover, you seconded. So Minister for Local Government.
Most
Yes.
obliged, Right Honorable.
Thank you. So let it be now a joint statement, but spearheaded by the Minister for Lands. Thank you, honorable colleagues. You've done a great job on this, and the Minister has made it very easy for us. Next.
Item 3.3, statement of taxes paid to URA by SICPA.
Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the announcer said statement. I already presented a statement on this matter on the floor of the House. What I was left with was laying on table the contract between URA and SICPA SA. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the framework contract for the supply, implementation, training, commissioning, support, and maintenance of a digital stamp solution between URA and MS SICPA SA. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Attorney General.
Right Honorable Speaker, this contract has 7 addendums. I beg to lay them at once.
Sure. They are all part of the contract.
I beg
The
to lay.
contract with addendum. Thank you, Attorney General. Now it's captured as still as that item because this arose out of the debate and the requirement. So to make it very complete, we still capture the item as it was, so that the Attorney General has done his job. Thank you, Attorney General. Next.
Item 3.4, statement on the poorly funded and ill-equipped mechanical workshops of the Ministry of Works and Transport countrywide.
Minister for Works.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are to represent to put out a statement to this Parliament regarding the status of road equipment units and regional workshops and other information related to that. Right Honorable Speaker, in the 2010 government reviewed the districts and urban roads management and maintenance framework and introduced the direct labor, that is force account mode of operation, with provision of road equipment from China in 2012 and subsequent additional road equipment from Japan in 2017. From 2017 to 2021, the road equipment from Japan was exclusively maintained through framework contracts that were signed with road equipment local dealers. During this period, equipment availability averaged was about 90%. It should, however, be noted that while this high equipment availability was quite impressive, it left the ministry perpetually indebted to the service providers. Honorable Speaker, in 2021, the ministry made a strategic decision to shift routine maintenance of road equipment to an in-house arrangement. Routine maintenance mainly entails servicing of the road equipment, that is change of filters and oils, carrying out minor repairs and undertaking other preventive steps like greasing. The reason for the above shift in maintenance approach was to curtail the overall equipment maintenance cost while strengthening the capacity of our regional mechanical workshops with the ability to carry out minor repairs and residual capacity to remotely monitor the commercial equipment using the Cometrack system. Honorable Speaker, major repairs like system overhauls and complicated diagnosis continue to be handled by the road equipment dealers. While this new hybrid approach to road equipment maintenance is working and to some extent has reduced the cost of maintenance, it has experienced a number of teething problems, mostly due to financial constraints, which resultantly has reduced equipment availability to about 30%. Honorable Speaker, the ministry operates 4 regional mechanical workshops, that is at Central Mechanical Workshop at Kampala for the Central Region, at Bugembe in Jinja for the Eastern Region, at Gulu for the Northern Region, and at Mbarara for Western Region. While the regional mechanical workshops are equipped with mobile capacity to carry out routine maintenance, the number of mobile workshops is sufficient to cover the entire
Procedure. Is the statement uploaded, clerk?
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable, please, Honorable Minister. You've not yet learned rules on the table. Yeah? Clerk, is the statement uploaded? So, Honorable Minister, did you share it with the clerk? When? Because even me, I've asked for a copy. I'm waiting for a copy. I don't have, but colleagues, in the interest of time, we are listening attentively. How they approach, okay? Let's allow the minister to conclude on it. Yep.
the regional mechanical workshops also act as regional hubs where the road equipment can be referred in case of complex repairs although they are not adequately equipped with requisite tools. Honorable Speaker, in regard to the status of regional mechanical workshops, I would like to furnish you with the following information. Under infrastructure and tools, one, apart from Bugembe Regional Mechanical Workshop, which was built with the assistance of JICA in 1996, the other three do not have appropriate infrastructure in place. For example, Guru and Mbarara Regional Mechanical Workshops can best be described as parking yards, while one at Central Mechanical Workshop has dilapidated structures. Two, the ministry has continually engaged with Ministry of Finance, Planning and Development, but due to resource constraints, we have not been able to get funds for equipping stroke retooling the workshops. Conversely, the ministry has also engaged with development partners such as JICA for project support, but this is yet to be realized. This is an area that we continue to explore and advance. Three, a feasibility study carried out on refurbishment and retooling, stroke equipping the regional mechanical workshops. It is estimated the requirement is to be 100